Josh Light with PoliticIt.com. I'm here in Wyoming with Thomas Bleming. How are you doing today, sir?
Pretty good.
So you're running for U.S. Senate?
Right.
What issues are you running on?
Well, I'm running on Second Amendment, and my opponent naturally voted for the reauthorization of the Patriot Act, and he voted for the National Defense Authorization Act, and of course I oppose that. I oppose the United Nations treaties for small arms. I'm for education. My opponent is a bit behind in that. I'm firmly against illegal immigration, for the ending of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, which they're still fighting in Iraq. They still have troops there, advisors. I'm for the senior citizens and veterans. I would not cut back the Social Security or Medicare. I'm a senior myself, and I'm also a combat vet. I believe that senior citizens of this country earned every bit they paid into the system. They deserve to have Social Security and should not be put on any table for budget cuts, nor should the veterans have to risk getting their pensions or disability in any way cut or hospital treatment. I think our veterans have paid the ultimate price in a lot of places all over the world. In fact, even me. I'm glad that I have the VA. These are some of the issues. I've been hitting my opponent pretty hard since this campaign started on civil liberties that he has helped infringe on. And that dealing with the reauthorization of the Patriot Act and the NDAA, where they can arrest you without trial or a hearing, do away with your Bill of Rights. And of course, I'm a strong believer in the Second Amendment. I have adequate weaponry. I'm a big collector and fancier of. This is a weapon, by the way, I carry just for protection. I used to have bodyguards, but they were around. But the thing is, seeing this as a campaign, I'm paying out of my own pocket. I decided that I'm good enough and expert enough with one of these that I really didn't need to have a couple people with me that are friends of mine. But I haven't received any adverse protests or anything for my campaign. On the contrary, I have been welcomed. I just came back from 5 days in Sheridan, Wyoming, where I was on Main Street meeting people. I had my signs on my vehicle, and I went into Buffalo yesterday for 2 hours and had people waving and wishing me well. And then I went down to KC and finished off that I ran out of everything. I ran out of political materials there at KC. I met about 30 people. And so I have been, this is how it's been since I started this effort on the 7th of June. I've been in over 100 and some cities, towns, and hamlets, and I figure I've met just over 7,000 people. I've given 40 interviews to the press, over a dozen radio interviews, not to include TV. I'm here today for you. I met 90% of my commitments, and I'm the only candidate that stated that they were going to finish it up with a full campaign. My opponent has refused to meet me on many occasions to debate. We have a few days left. I'm willing to debate him on statewide TV. He doesn't want to talk about the issues. He's turned his back on the people of Wyoming by what he voted on. So this is something that I have been making an issue of. I mentioned about being a veteran, and I just would like to show some of your viewers. When I was 23 years old, I knocked out 3 machine gun nests at the Battle of Dak To. We were fighting the North Vietnamese Army for a period of nearly 2 months, and we were outnumbered 12 to 1, and we were the first American victory on the 22nd of May, 1969, after 16 days of incessant shelling by North Vietnamese forces. We landed and captured one of their main command and control centers. We killed hundreds of them. There was 7 of us, 8 of us, no women, 4 Americans and 3 Vietnamese scouts. And in the exchange of grenade fire and machine gun fire over a period I'll hide that because it has my identity number, but over a period of few hours, we were able to win the day. And because of our actions on the 22nd of May at the Battle of LZ Yankee on Rocket Ridge, our forces were beginning to see. It was many more weeks of heavy fighting, but we had a toehold. And later on the following month, I was at Dock Toe, and I was awarded later on, after the battle was over, much later, I was awarded the Army Commendation Medal for valor, for dragging 5 men under fire during a fierce exchange of gunfire at our base, and along with another man who later became a Secret Service agent. So I have instilled in myself through a period of years, decades. I was involved in so much. I was an Army paratrooper, and my honorable discharges that I received, I tried to show this to the people who interviewed me, because the thing is that one thing you learn from this, I'm a fighter. And I have, I have always stood up for what I thought was right. I went, some of the most notable things I did, of course, I got in big trouble. It was 33 years ago, I invaded Panama. And I put up the money. I wrote a book about it, Panama Echoes from a Revolution. You can get it online. It was a history of the revolution. I was later captured there, months later, after I tried to assassinate Noriega. And as I told you earlier, when I was years later, I talked to a reporter from Panama, and I said, it was my Waterloo. But unlike Napoleon, I made a comeback. I traveled all over the world after that. I became an accredited photojournalist and author of 2 books. The other one is War in Karen Country, about the fighting in Burma, which I made 2 trips over there to with the Karen Army in eastern Burma. And I've been in 72 countries. I've written several stories that have been taken online that you can look at. And I encourage people to Google me up, Thomas Bleming. You read about my life. I'm not a wealthy man. I'm a very humble person. And I fit in with this campaign because I tell the people I'm fighting for them. I'm fighting for the people of Wyoming. And I do believe that the people of Wyoming want to have somebody to represent them that will stand up for them. As I said, John Barrazo turned his back on the people when he did what he did, and he knows he done wrong. He said later on he wasn't ashamed, but he's embarrassed. And I'm asking the people of Wyoming to elect me. I won't let them down. As I said, I'm one of them. If I'm to win on the night of the 21st of August, it won't be me that won. It'll be the thousands of people that would have voted for me, and people that stood up for me and talked about my campaign. And America's got a lot of troubles right now. We have a nation that's in debt. We have a nation with extreme amount of money being spent. And I'd like to touch on some of this. I have, of course, I'm only one person, but I would like to propose an end to foreign aid. You can't buy friends. We've thrown out trillions of dollars since 1946 on foreign aid. We've won over very few friends, and these wars have got to stop. The wars for oil, natural gas, opium, for the corporations. My opponents bought and paid for with the corporate money. And I have from the very beginning refused any of it. I refused around $200,000 worth of PAC money. That's not a lot of money compared to his 8 million or 6 million, but I still was, I could have used that. But instead I went directly to the people, and as I said, closing the campaign will be officially, my campaign will cease Monday morning at 9:40. But getting back to stopping foreign aid, some of the other proposals I would like to see is the defunding of things like FEMA, TSA to people that grope people at airports, your Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, the people that set you up and try to make you break the law and firearms and have provided weapons to the drug cartels in Mexico, fast and furious, and your other bureaucracies that have become so bulgent with federal funding. A lot of this federal spending has got to be cut. Along what I've just stated, the few agencies that I've already mentioned. You got Department of Homeland Security, the thuggery that goes on there. And we don't need these people. We had the FBI, we had the Central Intelligence Agency. The Patriot Act, for example, was a declaration of war on the American people. So was the NDAA. They have a free hand. It's in their face now. What are you going to do about it? That's their attitude. What could you do about it? Well, I got news for you. The American people cannot have their rights taken from them. It's unabridged. You still have rights, no matter if this corrupt government tells you don't have rights or not, you still have rights. And if you elect people like me, I'll fight for you. I have a clear record of this. And the thing is, you just got to go ahead and you keep on hitting it. You keep on getting out there. You see me, I came back last night, didn't get to bed at midnight, unloaded everything. I've been on campaign trail 5 days in Sheridan. The heat, sleeping in the car, getting up in the morning, washing, showering, getting out at 7 o'clock after a 15-minute breakfast and spending all day meeting people. And like you said earlier, where do I get the power? Hey, well, that's me. I'm engaged. I believe in what I'm doing. And this campaign has put another chapter in my life, and I hope that, as I said, the morning of the 22nd, I'll be able to, I won't be able to sleep because the work will start, because I have to run in the general election. But the thing is that at least I'll have some help from, the money that I used. In fact, I'll give you a little secret. A lot of people think I spent several $100,000. You're the first ones I'm going to tell. I spent a total of just a little bit over $4,350, of which about $2,150 were private donations, and I got all over the state. I can't complain. I had a good car that a friend of mine lent me. He said, if you're going to run for senator, you can't drive a 1998 Ford pickup truck. So I went ahead and he lent me his 2002 Lincoln Continental, and it held up good. I serviced it good, and has signs on it, and the flag, the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. It's kind of a symbol of resistance. I stated in the beginning that I would carry an AK-47 around the state. Well, I thought to myself later on, because when I announced, I used an M1 carbine, and I don't carry an M1 carbine. I put it on the side, the signs, and it's a lot lighter, and the symbol of resistance. And Wyoming is an independent state. The people of Wyoming, we really don't want the federal government getting in interfering with people's lives. We have a very independent group of people here, and the people they're very conservative. They're very pro-Second Amendment, and they'll find somebody that's very receptive to their views. As I said, when this is all over with, if I'm elected, I'll be a very, very humble person, and my only bosses will be the people of Wyoming. I promise them that. I only ask that they allow me to take up their fight for them and go from there.
And how are you connecting with people in Wyoming in the internet world?
Well, I have used the Facebook. I didn't have any money to use websites, and I had Facebook, and I made a Facebook page. I made a couple of them. In fact, one of them, is my own personal Facebook, and the other one is a campaign. They can look me up on either Thomas Bleming, U.S. Senate 2012, or Thomas Bleming, U.S. Senate, Thomas Bleming, and I have Thomas Bleming pages, and it's worked out well. Facebook it didn't cost me anything. I was able to social connect with with many, many people in Wyoming, many, many people all over the world. And I'm very, very happy that that was available, because the internet. I had one supporter of mine was last year. He said, "You got to get on Facebook. You got to get a page here. You got to use the internet," and I did. And I wasn't, up until 2000. I don't know, 2008 maybe. I really wasn't that socially connected as far as knowledgeable of a computer, and I don't own one. I have one that I borrow, or I use at a library, but I find it. I try not to be addicted by it, and when I'm traveling, I have my cell phone, and I can contact and call people, and I'm a little bit behind. Because I lived in so many third world countries, behind in some of the trinkets. I really don't believe in buying everything you see in a store. I'm not really a too big of a heavy consumer. I've lived a good many years, and I believe at my age, buying what you need. You become to the point where you, at least, I don't know. The only thing I came across this campaign, I was somewhere up in northern Wyoming last month, and I stopped in a gun store, and there was an AK-47 I wanted to buy. It was made in the United States, and I had to hold myself back. It was at a good price. It was made in the States, and I had to hold myself back. And I told the man, I said, if I buy that and my wife finds out that I bought this AK because of all the other stuff that I own, she's gonna throw the pot at me. So I bit my tongue, and I walked out, and I didn't buy it. But no, there hasn't been any real. I'm not a materialist. I've helped a lot of people financially when I could in my life. As I said, I made some money, and I spent a lot of money. I made quite a lot of money when I was traveling, working overseas and fighting, and I put that back into other ventures that would try to assist people. And like when I went to Burma, met the Karens, first time, second time over, I bought them truckloads of food, and brought in equipment for them, non-lethal. Web gear and stuff like that. I brought back nearly a whole plane load. I flew at my own expense to the Karen Army, and so this is the stuff that I have a soft heart for people, and the politicians in Washington, they're only after you. Only hear from them when you want your vote. That's the only thing, and there's a senator absent right now. The invisible senator. If he really cared for the people of Wyoming, he'd be as noticed as I am. So, I don't know where John Barrazo is at, but I assume he's back in Washington. But that shows you the dedication. But I've been here for 17 years. I live south. Well, I have two places. I have a small house in Lusk. I moved here in 1995, and I bought 80 acres when it was cheap. Put a small log house on it, log cabin, and a corral, and I've ridden broncs. I've been a cowboy. I always wanted to live out my dreams. I've ridden broncs here, and I've got a lot of kit and saddles and tack, and I go out there in the summertime when it's good weather and spend time there, and bring my dog, and I grow trees, and it's still not finished inside the house, but Wyoming's a fabulous place. And then my opponent, he's also from Pennsylvania, from a different city. We're both from Pennsylvania. I think he was born in Reading, and I was born in Philadelphia. So we're both transplants here, but I've been here 17 years, and I think that he's been here about 30. But I don't think that I would ever want to live in any other state. Wyoming is, as I said, pretty free and independent place. We have gun rights. We can, if you want to, you can walk around, carry anything you want. Our governor permitted that last July. of 2011 when he signed the non-permit carry. And this has worked out pretty well because the violent crime has dropped even more so. We don't have much violent crime, but you don't see, you don't know who's carrying. And when I drive my vehicle, I have it pretty well hidden. I don't flash it around. I would only pull it out and use it if I really had to. Most of the time, believe it or not, the mere sight of a weapon will stop anybody from doing anything. You don't need to do anything violent, and you don't need to be more aggressive than that. And but I do appreciate the opportunity coming here and meeting with you. And when you contacted me, you said, "Hey, do you have some time? 15 minutes?" And you're lucky you caught me, because if I had been on some of the other parts of the state, maybe I would not have been able to get back here. And as it was, I got up to Sheridan just after noon on Tuesday, and I was only going to stay there and leave Wednesday, but I had such a positive reaction. I thought, I'm going to extend this trip. And I gave an interview to the Sheridan Press Friday. And now, of course, I was on the radio up there Tuesday afternoon when I arrived. I was on Country Western FM station. And NPR did a story on me a couple days ago. And this week I've been in about 4 or 5 different papers. So you're fortunate that you're fortunate that you ran into me and we met, and I'm also fortunate that I have time to meet with you and talk.
We're glad to meet with you. Well, where can people go to find out more information about you?
Well, all they need to do is Google Thomas Bleming, Thomas, capital Bleming, and when they Google me, they could see stories, all positive, negative, in between, and go to images. And my books are available, online.